It's like a loop on what we feed it. If someone keeps telling us we're the greatest, we're the greatest, we're the greatest, we believe we're the greatest. So why not tell yourself, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, to get yourself to believe that. But the thing with affirmations is there's a fine line between hello and happy Sunday. Welcome back to another episode of Unique Moments, where we take a moment to breathe, take a moment to pause, reconnecting mind, body, and spirit. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about affirmations and just explaining affirmations and why they're helpful, why they're useful when you are healing, when you are reconnecting back to self, when you are journeying back to the core of who you are. Affirmations are so powerful. Before we get into the episode, the card we pulled from the Golden Mantras Oracle deck is My intuition is my greatest guide. It speaks clearly and moves me into action. And then the card says, struggling here. The card says, my love, all answers rest within you. Find yourself in a quiet, safe space. Take a comfortable seat, close your eyes, and flow through some clearing breaths. Now ask God, Spirit, and the universe to be with you. Ask them to grab your hand and to lead you to what you are seeking. Ask your questions and listen to the answers that come. And the journal prompt says, when was a time I listened to my intuition and was correct? What happened and how did I feel? What signals did I notice? Very interesting. So for a more in-depth look at the card and a kind of personal interpretation, you can go to the blog, touchedbygrace.blog. And Grace talks about how she believes spirit and intuition are synonymous. And so essentially when your intuition is telling you something, that's God telling you something. And I wholeheartedly believe that as well. It's just about, are you going to listen to it or not? And are you going to let it spring you into action? There are many times. So I have a very, very scary, strong intuition about situations, about people, about things that haven't happened yet. But I know things that happen before they happen. Let's just put it like that. And in kind of like a predictive sense, but not really. It's just a very, very strong knowing, about people, about places, about situations, scenarios. I can feel energies very, very heavily. And so that's how my intuition speaks to me. Sometimes it'll warn me about people, hey, this is not a good person, or hey, this person is going to be a significant person in your life, or this cycle's done. This cycle with this person is closing out. It's finished. Pack your bags. It's time to go. We're on to a new chapter. Stuff like that. I can pick up on that way, way, way before it happens. It's just about, am I going to listen to it or not, and follow the necessary steps to either get out of the situation or have a difficult conversation with the person, or, cut ties, end a friendship, things like that. But your intuition also speaks, and with the clearly moves you into action. It tells you when to move and where to move and how to move. And I think that's the trickiest part, is listening to that and being correct. My intuition has guided me. I'll give you some little examples. And maybe they're big, but I think it's just little things, little synchronicities that happen when I listen to my intuition, that I'm like, oh, that voice. And it's when you listen to it and when you obey and when you do the things it's actually telling you to do, then you get more familiar, and you start to recognize and you start to discern a lot better. That's a better word. You start to discern what are intrusive thoughts versus what is your intuition, what is your higher self, what is God telling you to do, versus, because you can hear all types of things, but that doesn't mean it's coming from God. That doesn't mean it's coming from your intuition. So I think learning what your intuition specifically sounds like, because I think everyone sounds different, and following the promptings that it's telling you to do strengthens it. And so, for example, this past Halloween that we had, so well past trick-or-treating age, but I have a sweet tooth. I love candy. And so I was like, I really want to get some candy for Halloween, but I didn't want to go to the store, and I didn't want to go trick-or-treating because what, and I didn't want to wait till the next day. I wanted the candy for Halloween, but I live in an apartment and there are children, but they don't really trick-or-treat. Like, they go elsewhere to trick-or-treat. So no one was really passing out candy like that. No one had like bowls or whatever out their door. So, and I wasn't dwelling on it, but I was just like, I really want some candy. Like, how can I get some candy? And then I kind of just, went about my day. And at the end of the night, I don't remember what time it was, but it was late. And I just got like this intuitive, I want to call it an intuitive hit, but I got like an intuitive nudge that said, go to the store. And it wasn't for candy. It was just for some random things that I needed. But it's about the timing. That's another thing. Like, when you listen to the timing of it all. So my intuition told me, okay, go to the store. And so I'm like, okay, it was like some random hour at night, but I was like, okay, I'll go to the store. I guess I could have went in the morning. I could have went earlier that day, but at that very specific time, my intuition said, go to the store. And so I'm getting ready and I go to the store. And as I'm about to leave the parking lot, my downstairs neighbor is coming in the parking lot, and he has a bucket full of Halloween candy. And he's like, here, do you want some? Like, basically like trick or treat. And I was like, yes, yes, that's the only thing I wanted today. And so I got some Halloween candy by listening to my intuition, because I could have waited, I could have stalled, I could have scrolled on my phone, I could have said, oh no, I'll go tomorrow, and then I would have missed that opportunity. But I listened, and it got me there. And then another example of listening to my intuition about being in the right place at the right time. And it's so funny because time is just so, you can miss something by seconds, by minutes, but it's like when things line up precisely, it's very interesting. Let's just say that's very interesting. So another time that I listened to my intuition and I feel like it paid off, or it just, just led me somewhere. So they were having this exhibit downtown, and my mom and I were supposed to go, but we didn't end up going. Our schedules were misaligned, and I was like, I'm gonna go anyway. And I was like, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna get ready. I'm not gonna rush, and I'll just go when I get there, and then I'll see the exhibit. But it was me listening intuitively, because I could have went in the morning early, I could have went in the afternoon, but like intuitively, my intuition said, okay, go around this time. And I was like, okay, I'll just go around this time. I'll make sure I'll get ready so I have enough time to be there at this time that my intuition told me to be there. And so I go. It's very crowded and it's a very popular exhibit. So there was not a lot of parking. I was driving around looking for parking for a very long time. And then I finally found a space and a spot. And I didn't really know where the exhibit was. I was just going to find it. And so I park and I'm walking and I find it. And what's so funny is, so people are taking pictures, and then I see this family. It was like a mom and she had all her kids. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just let them go because they've been like waiting. And I don't really want to take a picture. I just want to see the exhibit. And she looks super familiar. I was like, who is that? Like, I feel like I know her, but I don't know her. And if you're familiar, there's a rapper out of Houston, and his name is Toby. And I believe he lives in Houston, but underground artist, popular artist, I don't know. It depends, but I think he's kind of popular. And so it was his wife. It was his wife and his kids there. And I was just like, what are the odds? And I would just see, and they were just in broad daylight. I didn't walk up to them or anything crazy like that, but I was just like, what are the odds that I left my house at the exact time, took however long to find parking just to pull up? And it wasn't like a bunch of people were there. It was like me, her, and then two other people. And it was just so crazy because I was like, had I left a minute later or a minute sooner, that might not have happened. So when you listen to your intuition, you end up being in places that you need to be when you need to be there. And then separately, it just helps you discern, like I said, when hanging out with people and certain places, where to go, where not to go. And I think the key is just strengthening your intuition to where you know not to question it, and to where you know this is my intuition and not my doubt and not my fears, not other people's opinions in my ear. This is my intuition. And you only really discover what your intuition is when you spend time, when you listen to it over and over again, when you get familiar with the voice and you realize, oh, okay, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. I need to follow this thing. And so I said on that, if you listen to your intuition, I believe that it can lead you to some really great places. And just even with this podcast, following my intuition, because it wasn't like it wasn't like I'm gonna start a podcast. I'm gonna start a podcast and I'm gonna talk about these things and it's gonna be so great and da, da, da. It kind of just came out of nowhere, but intuitively. So I was learning all of these things just about healing and about the mind and the body and science and your brain functions and neurology and vibrations and frequency and energy. And I was just learning so many things and I didn't think anything of it. And meditation. And then gradually it started to come. Gradually, I just started getting these messages. And I wasn't even talking to anybody at first. I was just recording them on my phone. And intuitively, I was like, oh, I should just record this on my walk or something. I would take walks every morning and I would just record them. Or sometimes I would get you could call it an intuitive download of a message or of something that and to this day I haven't used all of them. Some of them were just vibes that I was feeling and needed to record, but some of them have become episodes. And at first I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what that was. It was just something telling me I had to record this and I had to be present and do this. And then it developed into this podcast, which I'm very grateful for and I'm very blessed to have and to have created. But had I not listened and, just let those little intuitive hits or intuitive downloads just pass, and I might not have had this. I might not have built this, or at least in this way. And to get into the episode of affirmations, I don't have much to say, although I do believe that affirmations are very powerful. So what does it mean to affirm something? To state something very clearly, very matter-of-factly. I affirm this. And usually affirmations are said in the affirmative I am healthy, I am blessed, I am, insert whatever affirmation here. I am blessed and highly favored. I am, everything is always working out for me. All of these great affirmations. And they're so good because they help you, again, with the subconscious mind. They help you train and reprogram your subconscious mind for positive thoughts, for positive affirming thoughts. And unless you just grew up in the most stable environment, emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, then you're probably good. You probably really don't need to say positive affirmations, although they're just good to keep your brain primed in that positive state. That's why going to church and reading the Bible and just having any sort of faith or religious type of practice is so beneficial, because we think it's God, and it is God. It is God doing it. It is the power of God. If you believe in the Holy Spirit, it's the power of the Holy Spirit. It's the power of Allah. It is that divine source power. But you are also playing a role in affirming your prayers and affirming what God said about you and affirming the word and affirming all these things that are already written. And it works, and it changes your mind and it changes your life. They say if you change your mind, you change your life. And when you change the words you speak, when you change the thoughts you have, that is you changing your mind, and that is you changing your life. So religious practices are such a good example of ways that affirmation works, because when you're reading something over and over, whether it's a favorite scripture that you like or whether it's a motivational quote or something, when you're reading it, you're imparting that into your spirit, into your subconscious mind. And our brains are supercomputers. Like we don't even supercomputers, they work they work by how we program them. They work by how we program them, and at any point in time you can reprogram your mind. And that's why people change when they say, I found God, I quit the drugs, I got sober, because you're changing your mind. You're changing what you're feeding it. You're changing the thoughts you're feeding it. You're going to the meetings. You're atoning for your sins. You're changing your mindset and your mind state, and you're feeding your mind different things. When you feed your mind different information, that it gives it an opportunity to have a different output. You only get out what you put in. What are you putting in? When you put in positive affirmations, when you put in positive feedback, I can do this, I am the greatest, everything is always working out for me, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am blessed, I am prosperous, I have a beautiful, loving family, I have a beautiful legacy, I am whatever the affirmation is, whatever you want to be. You're giving your brain and your body and whatever else you're affirming the opportunity to push that out. If it never goes in, how can it come out? If positivity never comes in, how can it go out? If only negative thoughts and negative things come in, what do you expect is going to come out? It's only negativity. So that affirmations work so well, and speaking them is good. I prefer writing them. Writing is just my thing. I love writing. So you can speak your affirmations. You can write your affirmations. They say before you wake up, before you go to bed, when you're still in that sleepy, like theta, when you're still in that sleepy theta brainwave state, you're more connected to your subconscious. And all of it is about your subconscious, because when we reprogram our subconscious mind, we quite literally reprogram our life, because that's the thing that's always running on autopilot. And we were affirmed even when we were younger. And I think that's why we have to kind of keep it going, because as a child, you're told you're loved, I loved you, you're doing a good job, you're so strong, you're so resilient. If you did sports, you're such a good player, like whatever people who do sports say. I don't know. But if you did something in school, you got some sort of affirmation. If you got good grades, you got a good job, you're so smart, you're so intelligent. If you got into college, great job, you're going to be so successful, like you're pretty, you're handsome, you get affirmed in all of these ways. And so it shouldn't stop when we grow older. We should keep that going, because you turned out the way you turned out because of the things that people affirmed in you, whether positive or negative, because of the things that people affirmed in you. If they told you that you looked good, if they told you that you were the most popular in school, if they told you that you were the smartest kid in school, we internalize that. Our brains internalize that, because it's like a loop. It's like a loop on what we feed it. If someone keeps telling us we're the greatest, we're the greatest, we're the greatest, we believe we're the greatest. So why not tell yourself, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, to get yourself to believe that. But the thing with affirmations is there's a fine line between affirming and being delusional. And I think on the one hand, depending on where your beliefs are and depending on what you've been feeding your subconscious, or what your subconscious has been feeding off of up until this point, determines if you're walking the line of delusion, or if you are just affirming some really, really strong beliefs that are going to take a little bit of time to get down there yet. So for example, we're talking about fitness. If you are affirming, I have a six pack, I have a six pack, I have a six pack, that does not mean you will get that six pack. And that's not to say that you won't get it someday. That's not to say that the thought and the affirming language of I have a six pack is not going to impart into your subconscious mind and trigger your brain to want to make different choices and eat healthier and work out harder so that you develop that six pack. That is kind of how that could work. However, it could err on the side of delusion if you're just saying these things and repeating them like ritual in the morning, at night, in the middle of the day, and you're just repeating, affirming, writing, I have a six pack, I have a six pack, I have it. It doesn't work like that, because you're trying to affirm something that you don't believe. That's the other thing. Affirmations only work when there is feeling behind them, when there is intention behind them. And only like everybody can say the phrase, I'm satisfied with my life. I lack nothing. I have everything that I could ever need. Anyone can say that phrase. It's about belief. Do you believe it? Do you believe the words that are coming out of your mouth when you say that? When you say, I am safe, I am loved, I am healed. Are you just saying it, or do you believe it? That's the key thing. If you truly believe that, and I think the more times you say it, because it's all about repetition, 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 repetition. The more times you say it, the more times you're exposing your brain to that. The more times you're exposing your brain to that pathway. What if you never felt safe before? What if you never felt love before? You don't have that avenue in your brain that says I am safe, I am loved, I am healed, if you've never felt those things before. So when you're first saying it, your brain goes, no, you're not. Like, we're not safe, we're not healed, we're not loved, we never felt that before. But then you persevere and you push through. And it's kind of like brainwashing a little bit. But again, our brains are supercomputers, whatever you tell it. And so if you tell yourself that, let's just use I am safe, I am healed, I am loved. I like that affirmation. And I use that affirmation and it's good. And eventually you can brainwash yourself into being that. But it only works if you truly genuinely believe it. Like, if you are in a terrible situation, let's say an abusive relationship, for example, and you affirm, I am safe, I am healed, I am loved, but you're, trigger warning, you're getting beaten, or you're getting abused every day, there's like a level of cognitive dissonance there, because it's like you're trying to rewire your brain and saying, I am safe, I am healed, I am loved. But in your outer world and your outer reality, you are experiencing physical pain and emotional pain. So in that sense, it's not that the affirmation won't work, but there has to be some genuine belief behind it. Like, you have to be able to see that future where you are safe, where you are happy, where you are healed, where you are loved, in order for it to work. Because I feel like that's the thing with people who say affirmations work, do it the right way. People who say affirmations don't work, I think they just do it emptily. Is that a word? They do it with like empty feeling. It's like they think it's magic. And on the one hand, I could see why people would consider affirmations magic. On the one hand, they are magical, but only if you, again, do them with feeling. It's like, it's not going to work if you don't believe it. That's the bottom line. Affirmations only work so far as you believe it. So if and that's why someone can tell you all day, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're funny, and you still have these deep-seated insecurities in you because you don't believe it. You don't connect to that. Now, whether that's because someone told you weren't, you have trauma around that, I don't know, that's a different story. But you have to affirm yourself. Another outside person can only affirm to you what you already believe. An outside person that is not you can only affirm something to you that you already believe in order for you to accept it. If someone is telling you all these things, you're funny, you're so smart, you're so wonderful, you're so talented, you are the best, and you don't believe it, that's not going to sink in. It's like your brain has like a wall up because the affirmations don't go through. The affirmations are not going to get in. It's like foreign territory. And so you have to do the work of affirming that to yourself. And it can be hard in the beginning depending on your beliefs. I think if you have strong negative beliefs, or if you've been like telling yourself or rehearsing a story that is not in alignment with positivity, that's not in alignment with belief, with faith, with positivity, then affirmations are a little hard to get into. But I think when you have a general good disposition, when you feel good about life, when you have a strong faith, when you have a strong religious background, affirmations are very easy to add into your day. And I like doing them in the beginning of the day, especially gratitude affirmations, because it's just a good reminder. It's just a good reminder, and it puts you in the present moment. As soon as you wake up, what are you grateful for? And that's an affirmation. I'm affirming today that I am grateful that I woke up. I'm affirming today that I am grateful that I have a house to wake up in. I'm affirming today that I'm grateful for my voice. I'm grateful for my hands to be able to write down these affirmations, getting really back to the basic things that don't have anything to do with material, that don't have anything to do with what you have or even who you have in your life, even though that's a good thing too. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my family. But what can you be grateful for as soon as you wake up? And that just gets you in the mode of gratitude. And when you have the attitude of gratitude, like you just instantly change your vibration. It's a good way, even if you wake up in a negative mindset. Maybe something happened the day before, or maybe you are just not having a good time. Maybe you don't want to go to work. Maybe you hate your job. Like, it's a good mental reset as soon as you start the day. What am I grateful for? Why am I grateful that I woke up today? Am I grateful that I woke up today? Looking at that, just really looking at that. And then also before you go to bed, it's a good time as well. Because if you had a good day, I'm grateful for the way that the day went today. I'm grateful that I was able to see my favorite people. I'm grateful that I got all my work done. I was productive. And even if you didn't have a good day, practicing gratitude at the end of the day is a good reminder to, again, reset the energy. Maybe your day was horrible. You had a horrible day at work. You missed your workout. You didn't go to the gym. You didn't eat dinner. Maybe you're stressed out and it's just not a good day. Mental reset. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? Find something. Look for something. If you can't be grateful for anything, be grateful that you have breath. Be grateful for your breath. Be grateful for your limbs. Some people don't have their limbs. Some people don't have a home. Some people don't have a bed to sleep in. Be grateful for that. Can I be grateful for that even when nothing's going my way? And then you shift the energy and you shift the tone. And again, it just sets you on the right path for the healing process, for coming back to yourself, for reconnecting your mind and your body and your spirit. And that's another thing. Affirming really just, I think it connects the mind and the spirit, because the mind piece is you're rewiring your brain and you're affirming something. You're feeding yourself different thoughts. Mentally, your thoughts are shifting. And then the spirit piece, when you add with feeling, when you actually believe, okay, if I say I am successful in an empty way, that's just a mental thing. Like, you're trying to change your mindset. I'm successful. I am successful. I am successful. But when you really get out into the beliefs of it and you say, I am successful. I am successful. I am successful. And you're affirming that you are successful. Then you get into it. It's like a spiritual essence that it's like, okay, yeah, like that is me. Like, you're owning it. It's not like you're just saying it just to say it. You're owning the fact that you are successful. And then you start doing things that mirror that. Because again, with the input, you've inputted to yourself. You've told your brain, you've told yourself, I am successful. I'm a happy person. I live like someone who loves their life. Then you have the opportunity to get that output because you put that input in there already. So I think essentially that is all I wanted to say. I stand behind affirmations. I stand behind saying affirmations in the mirror. Something very positive and powerful about looking at yourself in the mirror and affirming who you are, and affirming mainly who you are. But just affirming yourself and really building yourself up and edifying yourself to build self-confidence, to build self-esteem. Even if you are already super confident, it's just a good confidence booster. Like, yeah, I am her. I am that girl. Like, I really am. And it's nice when other people tell it to you too, but telling it to yourself is really what makes a shift and what makes a change. So affirm yourself today. And it doesn't have to be in the I am. Like, a lot of affirmations, I feel, I believe, I know is very very powerful. I know everything is always working out for me. I believe all things are happening for my highest good. I believe that I'm living my best life. I believe that I am the best version of myself. I know that everything that I do prospers. I know, just different ways and how you do it. And I think the biggest thing is don't get discouraged, especially if it feels fake, especially if it feels like you're lying to yourself. And don't lie to yourself. Like if you are not active, and if you are lazy, and if you just sit around all day, do not affirm I am the healthiest version of myself. I live an active lifestyle. Because then again, with the cognitive dissonance, you're just lying to yourself, and then your brain is confused, and it's like, you can't trick yourself into like being or becoming better. You have to actually be that and do that. And then the affirmations allow you to maintain that. You can't be delusional. We can't be delusional. We can't say I'm a skinny legend, I'm a skinny legend, I'm a skinny legend, and go eat a pint of ice cream. Like, the dissonance, you just can't. You can, quite literally you can, but it's counterproductive. It's not productive. So affirm within not even reason, because you can be unreasonable, but like affirm not delusionally. Let's say that. Affirm things that make sense to you, because they don't have to make sense to everybody, but that they make sense to you. And that is a major key. At least it was for me in my healing. I think knowing something is one thing. Like, you can know you were destined for greatness, and that you were chosen, and that, you are meant to lead a legacy and live this big life and be successful and be all these things. You can know that in your heart. But I think affirming it is really like you're putting two and two together. You're affirming that you are this thing. You're stating, you're declaring, you're saying with confidence, I am this thing. And then that gives a little bit of accountability to you as well, because it's like, okay, you've said that. Now, are you going to do that? Are you going to act it out? Or are you going to look delusional, and are you going to look crazy because you're not who you say you were? You're affirming things that are not true. Are you gonna walk the walk, or are you just gonna talk the talk, essentially? Okay, so that's all I have. And until next time.